He reminded Washington that the US has failed to eliminate the Islamic Republic for 47 years and will not succeed now.
We constantly hear them saying that they, the United States, have sent a warship towards Iran. A warship is certainly a dangerous weapon, but even more dangerous is the weapon capable of sinking this warship to the bottom of the sea.
And Iran, on the other hand, has fired missiles into the Strait of Hormuz and moved to partially close the strategic waterway for further military drills. Iran's foreign minister has said that the discussions showed good developments compared to the last round and confirmed that both sides have reached an understanding on the main principles. However, he cautioned that this does not mean an agreement is imminent. And all of this unfolding after US President Donald Trump also warned Iran of consequences if it fails to reach a deal. Listen to this now.
I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically, Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential, and we had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
Now, despite Trump's comments on Iran seeking an agreement, there is a major potential stumbling block. In fact, several. Washington has demanded that Tehran forego uranium enrichment on its soil and has sought to expand the scope of the talks to non-nuclear issues, such as Iran's missile stockpile and the recent crackdown on protesters. A protest was held against Khamenei outside the United Nations building in Geneva amid the talks between the two sides. However, Iran has made its position clear. It will not limit enrichment unless Western sanctions that have severely strained its economy are rolled back. While the shots at diplomacy continue, Washington has moved naval and air armada into the region. The US's Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is already in the northern Arabian Sea, comprising destroyers, frigates, warplanes, helicopters. A second aircraft carrier is heading to the region with its own strike group, doubling the US air and naval capabilities in West Asia. Additional assets are deployed across strategic locations in the Red Sea, Persian Gulf, near the Strait of Hormuz. The buildup is further supported by air assets from the UK, dozens of cargo flights moving equipment to Jordan, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia. In fact, military posturing and further escalation resonating deeply in Tehran. A couple of days back, Iran foreign minister, remember, revealed that unexploded bombs are still present at Iranian nuclear facilities struck by the US last year. And all of this coming under the shadow of last June's 12-day conflict. Israel, with US support, launched a swift and deadly assault on Iran, targeting military and nuclear sites, civilian facilities, and carrying out assassinations of commanders and scientists. Iran, remember, retaliated with missile and drone strikes on Israeli military and intelligence targets. During that conflict, the US bombed 3 nuclear sites before a ceasefire was announced. The modern battlefield is no longer just defined by tanks or trenches. It is increasingly being defined by machines. Both the United States and China, in fact, are racing towards a high-tech drone war, and the Indo-Pacific appears to have become their battleground. Both Washington and Beijing are hoping to tip the balance in any future conflict, especially around Taiwan and the South China Sea. And at the center of America's drone push stands the MQ-9 Reaper. The drone flies up to 50,000 feet, stays airborne for long hours, and carries both surveillance sensors as well as precision weapons. The US military has already used it in high-profile operations, including the 2020 strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. And now Washington is positioning these drones closer to China's periphery. The US Marine Corps has stationed MQ-9s at the Kadena Air Base in Japan's Okinawa Islands. The US Air Force already operates additional MQ-9 drones there as well. From Okinawa, American drones can basically monitor the East China Sea and the Taiwan Strait round the clock. Another squadron operates out of the air base in South Korea, expanding surveillance over the Yellow Sea. And while in the Philippines, US forces have deployed MQ-9s to the Basa Air Base, strengthening their watch over the South China Sea. That's not even all. The US is also arming allies with similar drones. Japan planning to double its fleet of the MQ-9B Sea Guardians. Taiwan, for that matter, has also ordered MQ-9Bs, while Washington has also offered MQ-9 drone technology to partners like South Korea and Australia, helping build what analysts describe as a real-time intelligence sharing umbrella, especially around the first island chain. But China is, of course, not standing still. Images circulating online appear to show a stealth drone aboard China's new amphibious assault ship. It's also known as Sichuan, the vessel reportedly featuring an electromagnetic catapult system, similar to the one installed on China's most advanced aircraft carrier, the Fujian. Now, this system basically allows faster launches and heavier payloads. It's ideal for drone warfare, and analysts believe the drones seen on the deck could be linked to China's program, which is Beijing's first confirmed stealth unmanned combat aircraft capable of operating alongside manned fighter jets. Chinese state media claiming that Type 076 will conduct drone reconnaissance and strike missions in support of amphibious operations. Capabilities that are expected to become one of China's most important assets in any potential military action against Taiwan. The war for drone supremacy can also be highlighted by each country's moves, recent plans for the immediate future. And coincidentally, both countries investing in low-cost expendable drones, with quantity appearing to be the larger focus. In December 2025 itself, the Pentagon launched a $1 billion program for kamikaze drones. The program involved buying over 300,000 of one-way attack drones, or kamikaze drones, by 2028. While on the other hand, a Chinese defense company has reportedly secured a massive state contract to produce approximately 1 million kamikaze drones for the PLA by this year. So the overall message is pretty clear. The US is building a spread out allied drone surveillance and strike network across the Indo-Pacific, while China is developing carrier-based stealth drones and launch systems to project power across contested waters. And these developments underscoring one growing reality: battles in modern warfare are no longer just defined by missiles or by boots on the ground. Drones in the sky hold equal, if not more, significance. And the race for drone supremacy is well underway. The India AI Impact Summit 2026 is underway in New Delhi, and Prime Minister Modi has clearly outlined his vision for how the country plans to leverage AI further in advancing the goal of a self-reliant India. In an interview to ANI, the Prime Minister stressed that India should be among the top 3 AI superpowers globally, not just in consumption of AI, but also in its creation. Prime Minister Modi predicted that India's AI models will be deployed worldwide, serving billions in their native languages. He also added the country's AI-powered services will be looked up as a benchmark for efficient and equitable governance. Additionally, the Prime Minister highlighted several examples of how India's AI adoption has positively impacted people. For instance, he flagged the use of AI-based solutions, which are helping early detection of ailments like tuberculosis at the local level. Not just that, the Prime Minister pointed out how dairy brand Amul, for example, is using AI to reach 3.6 million female dairy farmers across thousands of villages and providing real-term guidance on cattle health and productivity. AI also enabling digitization and interpretation of ancient manuscripts, thereby unlocking India's civilizational knowledge systems. Now, one of the biggest strengths which can propel India to achieve its AI goal is its demographic dividend. Nearly 65% of the population is below the age of 35. In terms of the necessary skill sets, the country fares quite well, with close to 1.5 million engineering students graduating every year. India also boasting of a robust digital infrastructure, with 99% of the adult population enrolled in Aadhaar, which is one of the world's largest digital identity databases. The country also has the highest monthly data consumption as per the latest report from Ericsson's mobility report. It also has the potential to become a major data hub. We've been telling you about this. However, India also faces challenges. It remains heavily dependent on foreign technology, shortage of high-end AI software, and limited access to cloud computing, in a way hindering India's ability to create cutting-edge AI systems that can compete globally. Its AI research output also remains limited to a certain extent, with the country accounting for just 9.2% of the global AI research publications. Insufficient funding is perceived to be a key reason for this. At present, the country still lacks dedicated legislation solely focused on regulating AI. Also, India's AI adoption is still relatively slow, with a NASSCOM survey, in fact, showing that only 12% of enterprises have adopted some form of AI in the MSME sector, which is a key growth driver for the country. Similarly, agriculture, which employs over 40% of India's workforce, showing minimal AI penetration. Prime Minister Modi says AI as a force multiplier, while acknowledging concerns of youth about AI-driven disruptions in the job market. He maintained that new opportunities will emerge with growing innovation. More than 2 years of relentless war, more than 71,000 people dead, entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble, families shattered, and now after months of fragile diplomacy, the war in Gaza may soon return because Israel is drawing a hard red line. A senior advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel will give Hamas 60 days to completely disarm. And if that deadline passes without results, the Israeli military, he says, will resume full-scale operations in the Gaza Strip. So just to put this simply, this is not just symbolic disarmament, this is total disarmament. Every weapon, every rifle. Comments made by the Israeli Prime Minister himself. Listen to this.
They did the worst massacre of the Jewish people since the Holocaust with AK-47s. 60,000 of them, they have to go outside. Obviously RPGs, rockets, and so on, but that's the main weapon, and that has to go.
Israel's cabinet secretary, meanwhile, said the 60-day window came at the request of the Trump administration and said that Israel is honoring that timeline, and also warning that Israel will assess the outcome after 60 days. If Hamas complies, he claims tensions may ease. And if it refuses, the IDF, he claims, will, quote-unquote, complete the mission. Netanyahu's top aide further saying that before Israel heads into its next national election, currently scheduled for October, but could possibly be moved up to June, one of two things will happen. Hamas would have disarmed, or Israeli forces will be deep into another major military campaign in Gaza. Israel estimates Hamas has around 90,000 weapons in Gaza. These primarily include Kalashnikov rifles, snipers, machine guns, grenades, IEDs. A report in the New York Times recently claimed that a draft US-led Board of Peace proposal could allow Hamas to retain some small arms initially, while surrendering weapons capable of striking Israel. According to that report, US envoys, including Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, plan to present the document to Hamas in the coming weeks. On Truth Social, the US president also reiterated Hamas must surrender its arms. In the post, Trump said, I'm quoting now, very importantly, Hamas must uphold its commitment to full and immediate demilitarization. Now, these developments come in the backdrop of reports claiming that, according to Israel, Hamas has started quietly collecting light weapons from civilians in Gaza, setting up checkpoints in areas under its control to stockpile arms, even as international pressure mounts for complete surrender. So will Hamas disarm is the big question. Will the group reach another agreement in the interim? Or will the war in Gaza return? Either way, the clock, when it comes to the 60-day window, is fast ticking. Beneath the mountains, oceans, and beyond the public gaze, China is accelerating its nuclear build-up at a pace that is also reshaping the global balance of power, it seems. From warheads to submarines, China is moving fast. Our next report decodes how China is trying to arm itself with the world's most terrifying arsenal. Take a look.
China has one of the biggest military in the world. Now the world's second largest economy is racing to arm itself like never before. China is rapidly building nuclear weapons. It has refused to join Trump's invitation to join a treaty which limits nuclear weapons. The dragon is no longer lurking. It is arming for undisputed dominance. China is producing submarines at its Bohai shipyards faster than at any point in history. Attack submarines, ballistic missile submarines. China is building them fast, each one extending Beijing's reach across the Pacific and beyond. According to a report by ISS between 2021 to 2025, China's submarine building surpassed that of the US in both numbers of subs launched and tonnage. It's a stark turnaround from the 2016 to 2020 period. Submarines are not just platforms, they are the ultimate weapons. A nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarine guarantees a second strike, the ability to retaliate even after absorbing a nuclear blow. That is the core of deterrence. China is also rapidly bolstering its nuclear facilities in Sichuan province. One of them is located near the city of Pingtong. This is believed to be China's only plutonium pit production facility, the heart of a nuclear warhead. Another critical site is in Zhaitong County. This complex is believed to produce the high explosive components that trigger a nuclear blast. The U.S. Department of War estimates suggests China could possess more than 1,000 operational nuclear warheads by 2030. This would be a sharp rise from previous decades. The U.S. is modernizing its own nuclear arsenal. Russia retains the world's largest stockpile. What makes China's buildup striking is its speed. Shipyard output has surged. Nuclear infrastructure is expanding simultaneously. Sea, land, and air components of its deterrent are being strengthened together. A new phase of the nuclear age is emerging, and China is building it fast.
And at this point, we're taking a very short break. But here's what's coming up on the other side. Tariq Rahman sworn in as Bangladesh's new Prime Minister, telling you all that you need to know about what this means for the country. How equipped are we to deal with killer asteroids? Getting you a detailed report on what experts are saying in just a bit. All this and more coming up. Decades after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, new research revealing children of exposed fathers carry subtle genetic marks showing the impact of radiation across generations. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
And welcome back. You're watching Gravitas. India and France have elevated their bilateral ties to the level of special global strategic partnership. Prime Minister Modi has noted that the friendship between New Delhi and Paris has no boundaries. In a joint press statement, in fact, with the French President, Prime Minister Modi underscored the depth and significance of the bilateral ties. He described the partnership as a crucial one that has expanded from defense to trade to technology and energy, with Paris positioning itself also as one of New Delhi's most reliable European partners.
भारत और फ्रांस मिलकर माउंट एवरेस्ट की ऊंचाइयों तक उड़ान भरने वाला विश्व का एकमात्र हेलीकॉप्टर भारत में बनाएंगे और ये पूरे विश्व को एक्सपोर्ट भी करेंगे। यानी India-France partnership knows no boundaries.
And the two leaders also virtually inaugurated the final assembly line for the production of the H-125 helicopters, a joint venture involving India's Tata Advanced Systems and Airbus. The assembly line in the southern state of Karnataka is India's first private sector facility to make helicopters. Meanwhile, the French president said that the relationship between the two countries is in a phase of acceleration in response to the changing international order. He also called on India to join efforts with France towards ending Russia's war in Ukraine. Macron also invited Prime Minister Modi to join the next Group of 7 summit, which will be taking place in June in France.
Civil infrastructure.
As the ceasefire remains difficult to achieve, and I regret that, we could join our efforts to secure the establishment of an immediate and lasting moratorium on strikes against civilians and civilian infrastructure.
After holding delegation-level talks, Prime Minister Modi and the French President also inaugurated the India-France Innovation Forum. The Indian Prime Minister highlighted that the goal of the initiative is to strengthen people-to-people connections. Macron, along with the French First Lady, in fact, also paid a solemn tribute to the victims of the 2008 terror attacks at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in Mumbai early today. And as part of his Mumbai visit, Macron also met personalities from the arts and culture world, including multiple Bollywood actors. Macron's first visit to India was in 2018, followed by his attendance at the 2023 G20 summit. He also came for a state visit in 2024 as the chief guest for India's 75th Republic Day. And during his current 3-day visit to India, the French president will also be attending the AI summit in New Delhi, the summit being held from the 16th to the 20th. Marking the world's first AI summit hosted in the Global South. Macron's participation also underscoring the importance both New Delhi and Paris attach to focused cooperation in the future. This engagement building on the groundwork laid in 2025 when Prime Minister Modi co-chaired the AI Action Summit with President Macron in Paris, further solidifying the partnership in the global tech landscape. Bangladesh is turning a new page in its political history. Tariq Rahman, the chief of the BNP party in Bangladesh, has been sworn in as the country's new prime minister. And this marks a historic shift after decades dominated by the long-standing rivalry between Sheikh Hasina and Khaleda Zia, a period often referred to as the Battle of Begums. BNP returning to power after 20 years, Rahman taking office with a full cabinet of 25 ministers, but the BNP also making a conscious decision, none of its members accepting the government-allotted plots or official vehicles. And they have also refused to take the second oath for the Constitutional Reform Council, stating that they will not endorse the referendum-backed July Charter without their full participation. In fact, the decision created a friction with the allied party Jamaat-e-Islami, which insisted that the parliament without the constitutional reform is meaningless. Jamaat, remember, wanted to take the oath alongside BNP, but with the BNP's refusal, the process stalled. The charter basically seeks to curb executive powers, putting limits on the term of the Prime Minister, strengthening the judiciary, also reinforcing the Election Commission's independence, and prevent the misuse of security forces. And while the Election Commission reports that over 60% of the voters supported the changes in the recent 13th parliamentary elections, BNP securing 209 out of the 297 seats, while Jamaat-e-Islami and allies won 77 seats. The Awami League, led by the deposed leader Sheikh Hasina, was barred from contesting, making Jamaat the principal opposition party. The ceremony was also attended by international representatives. In fact, India's Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla was also in attendance. On the eve of the oath, Muhammad Yunus, the outgoing chief advisor of Bangladesh's interim government, announced his resignation in a farewell address, highlighting national sovereignty and foreign policy independence, while emphasizing growing ties with China, Japan, the US, and Europe. He made no mention of India, but spoke of strategic balance in foreign policy. In his remarks on economic integration, he clubbed together Nepal, Bhutan, and Seven Sisters, a term used to refer to India's northeastern states.
Our open sea is not only a geographical boundary, it is an open door to engage with the world economy for Bangladesh. This region, along with Nepal, Bhutan, and the Seven Sisters, has great economic potential.
And looking ahead, Tariq Rahman faces two major challenges primarily. First, he must tackle the recent rise in political violence and attacks against minorities. Second, he needs to stabilize ties with India, a priority he has clearly signaled throughout his campaign. In fact, by refraining from anti-India rhetoric in his first press conference after the election, Rahman spoke consciously about foreign policy priorities, indicating a desire for stability and cooperation in the region. As Bangladesh enters this new era with the BNP back in power, early conflicts with Jamaat and complex challenges both at home and in foreign relationships, the coming months will be a crucial test for Tariq Rahman's leadership. The fallout from Pakistan's defeat to India in the T20 World Cup continues, and it could have far-reaching implications, in fact, even off the pitch. According to reports, Pakistan's Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, is unhappy with the PCP Chief, Mohsin Naqvi. Defeats to India, in fact, have become routine for Pakistan over the last few years. But the lack of competitiveness shown by the Pakistani team has not only raised questions and concern about the quality of players in the squad, but also about those in charge of the Pakistan Cricket Board. And the person at the helm of the PCB, Mohsin Naqvi, apart from being the most important man in Pakistani cricket, he's also the country's interior minister. Now, when someone holds two such important positions, you would normally think that his position is untouchable to a certain extent, but that is definitely not the case here, and let's tell you why. Pakistan technically has an elected government and a prime minister in Shehbaz Sharif, along with his cabinet of ministers, but are they truly in charge? That remains the big question all throughout, because not according to Shehbaz Sharif himself, it seems. The Pakistani Prime Minister recently publicly said that the country is being run through a hybrid regime, effectively conceding that the military is the real power holder in Pakistan. Even though Shehbaz Sharif's admission is recent, this dynamic has long been well known. There is even a euphemism for it in Pakistan. The military and its role in governance are often referred to as the establishment. And as of now, Asim Munir and the establishment are reportedly unimpressed with how Naqvi has handled the Pakistan Cricket Board in recent months. But then that displeasure on part of Asim Munir does not just stem from Pakistan's heavy loss to India. Munir was also irked by the fact that Naqvi invoked his name while responding to a question related to the threats made by the ICC. And this was remembered during the time when Pakistan had announced that it would not be playing the match against India at the T20 World Cup. Before the U-turn, Naqvi declared that neither he nor the government of Pakistan was intimidated, adding that Field Marshal Asim Munir never gets afraid. Naqvi himself was also reportedly embarrassed by the team's performance against India. He voiced his frustration to the Pakistan team manager before leaving the stadium, reportedly. Naqvi attended the match but left when Pakistan started losing wickets and it became evident that they would lose the contest. And the Pakistan team management is now mulling dropping Babar Azam and Shaheen Afridi for the match against Namibia on Wednesday. Pakistan must win to qualify for the Super 8 stage of the T20 World Cup. On to Pakistan, where the violence has taken a turn for the worse, while outfits like the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and Balochistan Liberation Front have intensified their attacks. Suicide attacks are increasingly on the rise once again. And this week itself started off on a rather ominous note as militants rammed an explosive-laden vehicle into a wall near a checkpoint. This was in the Bajaur district of Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. 11 security personnel and a girl died in this incident. And now this follows a broader pattern. Pakistan's capital city also saw its first suicide attack after many years in November 2025, when a Jamaat-ul-Ahrar militant detonated himself outside a district court. At least 12 people lost their lives in that attack. And this was followed by a gruesome attack on the Federal Constabulary headquarters in Peshawar. In January, a suicide bombing at a wedding in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province killed 7 people. Pakistan saw one of its deadliest suicide attacks over 10 days ago when a bomber detonated himself at a Shia mosque in Islamabad during Friday prayers. This led to the deaths of at least 32 people, whereas more than 160 others were left injured. And if you look at the numbers, suicide attacks have emerged as a major security concern in the country. For instance, 239 such attacks were witnessed from 2011 to 2025. It was the third most affected country by suicide attacks during this period. And this resulted in 7,400 people getting killed or injured. On the whole, Pakistan accounted for 11% of the world's civilians harmed by suicide attacks. The rise in suicide attacks in Pakistan have been linked to the TTP's emergence in 2007. Islamabad long struggled to stem the spate of suicide attacks, which even resulted in the death of former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. The situation has also worsened amid Pakistan's growing tiff with the Taliban in Afghanistan. And even as the Pakistani Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir's powers have been enhanced, it has made little impact on stemming the internal turmoil in the country, to say the least. The Russia-Ukraine war nearing its 4th year. The war on the ground is only becoming fiercer. Meanwhile, Russia has carried out a massive air attack on Ukraine. This comes as delegates of both countries began their meeting in Geneva. US President Donald Trump has told Kiev to quickly agree to a deal. And Germany now says that it has no weapons to give to Ukraine. Our next report telling you more.
Drones swarm the skies, missiles tear through darkness, barrages pound hours before talk. Escalation grips the battlefield. Russia has unleashed one of its biggest aerial attacks. "400 drones, 29 missiles rained down on Ukraine, and it came just hours before peace talks in Geneva." The constant bombardment shredding power grids and infrastructure across Kharkiv, Odessa, Zaporizhia and other regions. Each new attack tests Ukraine's depleted air defense grid, forcing it to expand interceptors.
which are hardly being replenished. All this comes at a time when Russian and Ukrainian negotiators are meeting in Geneva for fresh US-brokered talks. Battered and bruised by the grinding war, Ukrainians have little hopes that the talks would end their ordeal.
There have been so many of these meetings, so much talk about a ceasefire. Belief as such is not very strong, but people are already exhausted. They should be at least given a little rest.
One shouldn't trust the Russians absolutely, not even a little. I really want to believe that something will change after the meeting, but I don't really hope on it.
But political pressure is mounting. Trump's message is blunt. Ukraine must negotiate quickly.
Ukraine better come to the table fast. That's all I'm telling you. We are in a position, we want them to come.
At the same time, Germany has signaled that its weapons stockpiles are largely exhausted. Berlin says there are few systems left to send without undermining its own readiness. Across Europe, fatigue is visible. Supplies are finite. Production lines are stretched. Geneva offers a solution. The battlefield offers leverage. For now, both tracks move in parallel. Talks begin under the shadow of a brutal war, and the question remains, can diplomacy outrun the drones and missiles? Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
The Supreme Court of India has sounded the alarm over a new trend emerging inside Indian courtrooms reportedly. Lawyers relying on artificial intelligence tools that are inventing case laws, fabricating judgments, and manufacturing courts that simply do not exist reportedly. A 3-judge bench led by the Chief Justice along with justices in fact, has issued a stern caution to the bar. The bench made it clear that unchecked dependence on AI-generated drafts risks contaminating the judicial process itself. The judges highlighted that there were several petitions filed which contained AI hallucinations. Just to put this simply, AI hallucination is when AI produces false information as factual, portraying it to be factual, even though it is incorrect. Justice Nagaratna cited one example of a case titled Mercy versus Mankind. What's the problem with it? No such judgment actually exists. In other instances, reportedly, lawyers cited real Supreme Court cases, but the quoted passages had never been written by the court. The bench also pointed to a matter heard by Justice Dipankar Datta, where every legal precedent cited by the counsel turned out to be fabricated. And this is not just a problem limited to India. Courts in the US, for example, have penalized lawyers for submitting AI-generated fake citations. Similar concerns have also surfaced inside courts in the UK and Australia, for example. Even as the world powers continue to showcase their military might, as conflicts continue to rage the world over, China is quietly expanding its military presence in large parts of Africa. As per CIPRI, China was the biggest arms supplier to West African states from 2020 to 2024. In fact, it accounted for 26% of West African arms imports, followed by France with 14%, and Russia and Turkey at 11%. As far as the overall continent is concerned, it has been the leading small arms supplier since 2023. Beijing particularly made a dent in the Sahel region that spans roughly 5,400 kilometers in western and north-central Africa. For instance, Nigeria struck a deal to produce ammunition locally in collaboration with China's largest state-owned weapons manufacturer, in May last year. Norinco has also reportedly supplied Senegal with armored infantry vehicles and light weaponry. Mali and Burkina Faso are also sourcing armored personnel carriers and tactical drones from this Chinese firm. Now, China's increasing military footprint has come at the expense of France. While France once commanded large parts of the Sahel region, it pulled out troops from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger in 2022 and 2023 after military juntas in these countries severed defense pacts with the former colonial power. Accusations of neo-colonialism have fueled the anti-French sentiment there. Last year itself, it withdrew from the Kosai base in Chad and 2 military bases in Senegal, leaving Paris with no military presence as such in West or Central Africa. While Russia remained the top arms supplier to Africa from 2020 to 2024, its ability to provide arms and equipment has also been hindered by the Ukraine war. But Moscow hosted foreign ministers from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, collectively known as the Confederation of Sahel States, in April last year. After meeting his counterparts, the Russian foreign minister said that his country will help to build, train and equip the joint armed forces of the alliance. With Beijing increasing its military and security commitments in Africa, it's posing a serious challenge to traditional military powers in the region. Chinese communities around the world are celebrating the Lunar New Year, and for the third time in a row, Moscow is hosting 2-week-long celebrations to mark the occasion. The 2026 Lunar New Year ushering in the year of the fire horse. Let's take a quick look at some of these visuals coming in from those festivities. Above our heads, space looks calm, silent, empty. But NASA now admits that thousands of deadly asteroids are out there, untracked, also in a way unstoppable. And if one is heading for planet Earth, we may never know until it's too late. Our next report telling you more.
The night sky looks beautiful. It truly is a magnificent sight. Stars glittering. But behind the glitter there lurks a big danger. Space hides killers, rocks hurtle unseen, deep space churns with threats, ancient rocks tumble from the void. One collision could erase cities, thousands of city-killer asteroids lurk undetected. NASA says there are around 15,000 mid-sized space rocks are unaccounted for. These rocks, known as city killers, are at least 140 meters in diameter, and if one were to hit a populated area on Earth, could really cause massive damage. They are too dark for traditional telescopes to spot and too fast for our current early warning systems to track until they are too close from impact. What terrifies scientists is that the planet would have no way of defending itself should one of these rocks appear to be crashing towards Earth. The alarm bells rang globally last year when a space rock the size of a football stadium screamed past Earth, coming closer than the orbit of the Moon. Terrifyingly, astronomers only spotted the rogue object after it had already made its closest approach. This near miss exposed the brutal reality that our planetary shield is a myth. While experiments like DART showed we can nudge a rock with years of preparation, we have absolutely no capability to intercept a short-notice threat. If a city killer were detected on a collision course today, our only option would be evacuation, not deflection. Humanity is effectively standing in the middle of a cosmic highway with its eyes closed. For now, our best defense remains early detection, and that defense is incomplete. Above us, space is crowded, dark, and indifferent. The question is not whether Earth will be hit again, only when.
Decades after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, its impact seems to still be making its presence seen in the DNA of the next generations, in fact. A new research revealing children of exposed fathers carry subtle genetic marks. And it's the first clear sign that radiation can leave a mark across generations. Our next report telling you more.
The effects of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster may still be felt not just by those who were there, but by their children. A new study from scientists at University of Bonn found evidence that radiation from 1986 nuclear accident left small marks in the DNA of some children born to exposed fathers. Researchers studied the DNA of children whose fathers worked in the cleanup after Chernobyl or were exposed to radiation through military radar work. They compared them to children whose parents were not exposed. They found that children of exposed fathers had slightly more small groups of DNA changes called clusters. These can happen when radiation damages DNA and the body repairs it, but not perfectly. The good news is that the increase was small. Most of the changes were in parts of DNA that do not directly affect health. The study found no sign that these children have a higher risk of disease. While there are some limits to the study, the findings give the clearest evidence so far that radiation exposure can leave a tiny genetic trace in the next generation. The Chernobyl disaster took place on 26 April 1986 in Ukraine. The plant's fourth reactor experienced a full core meltdown due to power fluctuation. The entire town and nearby villages were evacuated. It remains the worst nuclear disaster in history, rated at level 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale. Nearly 40 years later, Chernobyl's impact is still being studied not just in the environment, but in human DNA.
A bakery that is 94 years old is reportedly at risk of closure in France. To say that the bakery is much loved would be an understatement. In fact, it's a legendary bakery to the extent that it's also known as the Louis Vuitton of boulangeries. Simply put, it refers to a traditional French bakery that specializes in various types of bread. According to a report in The Times, the bakery that opened way back in 1932 is at risk of closure, reportedly because Gen Z tourists are skipping visiting it and instead choosing bakeries more in line with their tastes. While its stores remain open, it's reportedly under threat from new bakeries going viral on social media. Just to give you a sense of how popular this bakery has been, it has 5 Parisian branches and 1 in London, and those who love the brand include big names like Kylie Minogue, Steven Spielberg, Robert De Niro. Last month, reportedly, the family-run company went into receivership. The bakeries were reportedly placed under judicial recovery on the 19th of January 2026 by the Paris Commercial Court, reportedly. According to the director, issues came up during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the rising flour and labor costs, among other issues, made matters worse. In fact, she issued a statement saying the operations continue as usual, all jobs are fully protected, and the process does not affect the day-to-day activities or the team organization. The thing is, with the increasing popularity and the use of social media platforms, newer outlets focus on aspects like experimental flavors, modern tastes, also how the food is presented. That also matters. For example, a 2018 founded chain with a large social media presence reportedly aiming to provide the food porn that Gen Z travelers want, with its website also saying the menu follows the rhythm of the seasons, but the food porn DNA never changes. In case you're not aware, the term food porn refers to glamorous and stylized presentation of food. If you are someone who consumes content on social media, you would know exactly what this is about. And clearly what's popular on your social media feed and what goes viral matters a lot more than you think. Humanoid robots took center stage at China's annual Spring Festival Gala. Delivering a stunning martial arts performance, the robots executed precise kicks, waved swords, and even performed backflips, blending traditional combat moves with cutting-edge technology. We're leaving you with this. Thanks very much for watching.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
And welcome to a brand new edition of South India, a daily dynamic show that will capture the pulse of southern states.
By blending the special stories, the breaking alerts, and the culture developments as well.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION. World is One.
In West Asia, every move shifts the world's balance. Wars, ceasefires, alliances, power never stands still. From Tehran to Tel Aviv, from Damascus to Doha, the West Asia Post cuts through the chaos to reveal the region that shapes the world. Because what happens in West Asia never stays in West Asia. This is the West Asia Post, the region's story, the world's impact.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Beyond the noise and rhetoric, no election, no ballot issue too small. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. More than just headlines. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power. Only on WION. World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We are live on WION World is One. We're also glad you're